Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Another episode of Reforge Gaming News for you discussing, is Elden Ring too easy? Is it too hard? Some people saying on both ends of the spectrum that they find the game to be too easy or too hard. We're going to be discussing it. I'm going to give you a breakdown right here at the beginning of the video about what I think. If you want to make sure that you don't miss these streams, be sure to hit subscribe and that bell button. I'm unzipping my jacket to really give you the goods. As always, if you want to be here for those discussions, that's the best way to do it, is to be subscribed to the channel. This is a Reforge update. Is Elden Ring too easy or is it too hard? Many people debating where they land on this, according to maybe the fact that you are a more veteran player or maybe you are new to the franchise. I've worked my way through some of the more early challenging boss fights, and I have been told that some people think it was a little bit too easy. I'm going to walk you through that as well as some of the other things that led to the game's launch. As always, if you like these updates, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss. So Miyazaki did indicate that more people would complete this game before it came out, saying that this was going to be a more approachable FromSoftware game compared to some of the more traditional titles, Dark Souls 1 through 3, Sekiro, or Bloodborne, even Demon Souls, thinking that this would be one that would be completed by more people. They made it a little bit more approachable. They talked about how if you get to a boss and it's too difficult, you can find other solutions, level up, look into magic or spells or summons or things like that to really sort of get around some of the things that might be giving you trouble. Not that the game would be easier, but just more approachable and give the player more options. Now, summoning feels like cheating to some people. If you're unaware of this reality in the game, there's at least 2 fights in the very beginning. I've been told this kind of goes away, but when you first fight Margit, or get to Margit, and when you fight Godric, you can actually summon an NPC to help you, and they're significantly helpful in taking aggro off of you, so you can kind of hit the boss in the back, and they do a significant amount of damage. I actually beat Godric my second try. I wasn't even really trying to win. I was like, let's just go in and see how the fight goes, and then people are like, oh, you forgot to summon, and I was like, oh, well, let's try that out. Let's try out the summoning. Let's see what it feels like, and we just absolutely destroyed him. Now, keep in mind, I had been leveling up and exploring the map significantly, so I'm packing a pretty good punch right now. I'm in the low 30s, lots of strength, endurance, and vigor. And I've spent a lot of resources upgrading my sword and my shield as well, so it led to some pretty strong hits, but a significant portion of the damage and the posture breaking wasn't even done by me. Many people looked at that and thought, this is just too easy, it makes the game kind of silly, it's just making the game not even feel like a Dark Souls game. So I actually think my experience with Margit and Godric is one that points out some of the realities of what Miyazaki was talking about. It's a little bit more approachable, but someone in the audience was like, this is the last time you can do this. The other bosses don't have these NPC summons. Now, sure, you can summon the wolves or the jellyfish, and they certainly help take some aggro off of you, but the bosses tend to hit pretty hard, and those summons aren't going to be there the entire time. You're still going to have to master the fight, the iframes, the dodges, and the animations. You're not going to be able to basically be ignored the entire time. There's simply not enough health in the summons to survive the entire fight. But that still is going to make the game a little bit more approachable and quote-unquote easier if that's the approach you take, if you really dig into magic and summons. But magic can be pretty tough because you usually have to try to keep distance and can feel a little squishy. I don't think this makes the game feel less fantastic or award-worthy. I think the game is beautiful. I think the open-world exploration is phenomenal. The bosses, the art design, they're very, very well done, and it's really up to the player. You don't have to summon the NPC if you don't want to. You can just refuse to do it. You don't have to use any of the summons that summon, the wolves or the jellyfish. You don't have to do that if you don't want. There's plenty of ways to approach this if you want maybe a quote-unquote more pure or stripped-down version of the game that would be more challenging. You can do that, or you can take your time, make sure you're always very high-leveled, make sure you're always very strong, and use summons to split up the fight, break it up, and give you a little bit of that breathing room. It's all up to the player, but this game is still significantly challenging regardless how you slice it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Always, you can join us over at Reforge Gaming for live streams as well. Hit subscribe and the bell button. I'll see you in the next one. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was sort of this is an unplanned thing. I did not know we were going to beat Godric yesterday as quickly as we did, and it really kind of sparked a debate. Like, this seems so easy. I can't believe you did that your second try. There was a lot that went into the fight. So if you're watching the VOD, always remember there's direct ways to support the channel. There are links below in the description. I'm wearing Gunner Optics glasses. We've got the displays. My shirt is from 80s Tees. And then there's the join button or the join link in the description. That's a paying membership that supports the channel directly. Don't forget, those are all great ways to support me and what I do. There's even an Amazon affiliate link. If you do any shopping on Amazon, you can click my link before you do so. So thanks for all the great ways you guys support the stream. If you're in the chat right now, smash the like button, get us our first 100 likes. That always helps out the video, and make sure you're on live chat so that way excuse me, that way we see your messages. I want to ask, I'm gonna give you guys a poll. Right? Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? All right? Do you think it's too hard? We'll do that one first. Too hard. And then we'll do too easy. And then we'll do just right. My vote is that it's just right. I've not found it to be too hard or too easy. I do think they're a little infatuated with AoE, which is, a little annoying in some of the fights. But I definitely think that it is, it's very approachable, very enjoyable, and still very challenging. I'm of two minds on this, as Derek. I admire a dev saying, this is the game, this is how hard it is, plays, deal with it. And I think all the easy, hard complaints are silly, but I would argue for difficulty options. The difficulty, the challenge with doing difficulty options in a game like this is it's just not how they design the fights. You can't just go in and suddenly give the boss more or less health and give the boss more or less damage output. Like, it doesn't work. Like, that's just not how they design their games. They'd have to completely overhaul their design philosophy, their design structure, how they build the world, the enemies, and the bosses. There's a difference between the game being approachable and difficult. I always hated that you had to be forced to go against a boss you were not spec'd for. Right. You did travel the map, says Gritter, and level a lot before the fight, so that really helped you. And we as the players have that freedom. I love that freedom in the game. To me, the game is just right. That's something that I think people need to remember. There were a couple of times where Godric would have killed me if I hadn't spent time leveling. He caught me in a flurry, and I was on death's door. I mean, I had almost no health. That would have been the end of me if I hadn't spent time leveling. So even though the summoning significantly helped me in the fight, you can't say that my approach to the game didn't significantly aid me and help me. Like, I spent a ton of time leveling, and I was able to face tank a pretty nasty flurry from him because I had been leveling, I had been leveling, so that made me, I outputted way more damage too. I was chunking him pretty hard near the end. Jelly Boy is the best boy. A difficulty option are in Elden Ring. If you want hard, walk straight to the boss. If you want it easier, cruise around the map a little first. Yeah, Creature's been sort of couching it that way whenever we kind of talk on the phone and strategize and think through the day. He said, listen, they gave people difficulty options, but they're more organic. He's not used that phrase, but I'm gonna paraphrase him and summarize his thoughts by saying it's a more organic difficulty option. If you want to take the time to roam around the world, level, grind, get your runes up, that's going to make the game quote-unquote easier. If you want hard mode, you want absolutely pedal-to-the-floor hard mode, then just linearly go through the game. Ignore the open world, ignore the optional dungeons, ignore all that potential gear you could get in the runes, and just go straight to the boss, and it's going to frickin' bust your face. You're going to be able to do nothing against the boss. You're going to have no heals, you're going to have no health, and no damage. So it's an organic difficulty. I actually think the brilliance of it is that they've created something that's more organic and player driven instead of something that's very sort of mechanistic where you just go in and click easy and you're like, yeah, easy, and then the entire game is a joke. It's like you know, you're just sort of cruising through, everything's weak, everything dies fast, you know, and you feel like a god. Well, that's not really organic. That's almost cheat code. You can do that in lots of games, by the way. You can put on story mode, and it's basically like low-level God mode. You're just running around, nothing can touch you. I was 32 at Godric, took about an hour of attempts. I think I was 34. I don't know if I checked my level at the end of yesterday's stream. I can't remember. I'm in the low 30s. I think I'm 34. So I mean, I've put some time in, and so that, you know, I'm pretty strong. I'm pretty strong when I go in there, you know. All right, I need to do a very quick thing. We have this isn't going to be an ongoing sponsorship, at least I don't think so. If you are looking, I'm going to start this at like 11 minutes so that I can go back and find the timestamp, all right? If you're looking for a pretty affordable mic, there is a mic by Tonor, okay? If you're looking for an affordable mic, there's this mic by Tonor, and the model number is the TC30. We have the command. It's spelled right there, Tonor, if you want to use the command in chat. It's like 40-something bucks on Amazon. Use that link to check it out. I'm going to give you a sample of the mic. Now, listen. This is a very economic, affordable option. It's not going to sound like my studio quality mixer preamp cloud lifter, okay? It's not going to sound like that. So don't judge the microphone against... I have literally one of the best setups you could probably buy, okay? So don't judge the mic's quality against mine, all right? So this is what the microphone would sound like if you're looking for an affordable option, whether you do Skype calls, you know, Zoom calls, or a podcast. Nice intro microphone. Check it out with the Tonor command or the link below. So you're going to notice a clear quality difference, okay? You're going to notice a clear quality difference. But that's not a fair judgment of a microphone like that, okay? There's lots of USB microphones that are out there, and that one is $40-something. This setup I have is, you know, close to $1,000. All right, so you're talking about a difference. You're talking about $1,000 setup versus a $40 setup, okay? So depending on what you're looking for, right? It does have a bit of a tinny, trebly sound to it. So that's going to happen when you go to the, you know, the lower end, more affordable USB microphones, okay? So thank you, Tonor, for sending us that to showcase to you guys. And then, you know, use that link, use the command. You can check it out. Appreciate you guys. Even if you're not going to buy it, you can click on it and go check it out. So, I agree with the poll results so far. Looks like the community agrees. Yeah, most people are saying it's just right. Nobody's saying it's too hard. Nobody's saying it's too easy. Eugene says, for me, it's not about levels. It's about mechanics that let you literally sit back for 3/4 of the fight. Well, here's the thing, Eugene. If Wheezy is correct, that after Godric, you're not summoning NPCs, right? Then I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. Because you saw when I fought the bear, that jellyfish ain't around for very long, okay? Now, I know you can level up the jellyfish, but still. You're not putting... You're not putting that jellyfish in every fight and just sitting in the corner like, ho-ho, like, I'm fine. So, I think it's totally fine that the two first bosses in the game give you a little bit of a helping hand if you want it, and then after that, no. And let's be honest, I don't care how many times you fight Margit or Godric, the summoner is not winning that fight for you. If you're bad, if you've not leveled, if you've not prepared, you're going to get your head taken off, right? It shows that it's out of stock. Is it available to others? They told me this needed to be done before the 10th. Why would it be out of stock? No, it's in stock for me in the US. Probably could be a UK thing. Probably a UK thing. Yo, good morning, Cat. How are you? If you guys are just tuning in, take the poll at the top of the chat. Elden Ring gameplay, too hard, too easy, or just right? Yesterday, after I fought Godric, a debate started up about how it was too easy. I beat him my second try because I had summoned, and it made the fight significantly easier. I will say that. It was significantly easier. Lord Nightbringer... it's Leno's stream, and he wants to talk about Elden Ring. If that's not what you want, go find a Lost Ark stream. Let's move on to something else. Is Lost Ark still the hype? How that's for a better topic and go. Yeah, no, you're not in charge here. You have zero power here. So if you're going to try and come in and derail the conversation, go somewhere else. Come back when I'm talking about something that you want me to talk about. We are covering Elden Ring for the foreseeable future unless major news breaks about other games or things. There's no summoning later. No, Zinthos. Let me be a little bit more clear. I don't want to lack clarity here. Summoning an NPC at the boss fight is not going to be happening later. Do you understand? You can summon the wolves. You can summon your jellyfish. That's totally doable. I'm talking about the little thing you walk up to before you go in the fight, and you're like, hey, Jerry, come help me with this fight, and it brings in some crazy strong NPC. Because listen, the chick that helps you at Godric, she is strong. She is ridiculously strong. You 100% can. I was told that you can't summon NPCs after Godric. It's not a thing. I summoned an NPC on a boss after Godric. It was a major one too. Oh, so wait, is Wheezy incorrect then? Risic was 7 months at a tier 3, another milestone down. I like how they did the game. The bosses are just hard enough and the mini-bosses are not too easy, and the other enemies hit hard. Thank you, Risic, for 7 months and for doing a tier 3. I didn't find the NPC for help on Godric. It's right outside the door. You gotta look for the gold strip on the ground. In some fights you can, but not all of them. NPCs can be summoned on a lot of bosses. Okay, so I was given bad intel. I was told that after Godric, it's not really a thing. You can, but it's reduced on what bosses it is for. So, okay, so Wheezy was half right. You can't walk to every boss and summon somebody. Sometimes you can. The chick you pick at Godric, I met her again, depends on who you talk to. There are summons after Godric, but not every boss. Okay, so we have some consensus now from chat that we can take to the bank. NPC summons they persist. It's something that continues to show up. It does, but it's not every single boss. It's not every single boss. I mean, I get both sides of the issues. There's they out there foot in their mouth pretty bad, and only made it worse with the canned apology. They shouldn't have tried to get out of giving that PC that person that won. They should have just adjusted to the next raffle. Well, they offered to give it to her, and she said no, she doesn't want to work with that company. I don't know. Let's see. Most summons to bosses are quest-based, says Colin. Summoning NPCs aren't a new mechanic. They've been in every Dark Souls. It's just a replacement for online summoning. Yeah, but I mean, did you see my Godric fight? The chick that you summoned there, I mean, brother, it is a little crazy. She's really strong. You know what I mean? She is really, really strong. For me, it was not given an option for NPC on Godric because I did not find her. So you have to find them in the wild first or they will not show up. Okay, well then let's make this argument. I only found her because I was being exhaustive and checking everywhere, which that takes skill and intentionality. I was going everywhere in the castle. That's risky, right? You're going into rooms and you're fighting and trying to survive, right? The whole thing was a crap show, and unfortunately I can see both sides of it. This is where I landed on a creature. I was like, what's the point in calling out something that shouldn't have happened if when they try to correct it, you say no? You know what I mean? The guy was like, okay, my bad. I'll give you the PC anyway, and here's an apology. And everyone's like, it's such a canned apology. It's like, what do you expect? The guy's being publicly ridiculed and being forced to, basically. I land on it as... This is just another example of people don't want an apology and they don't want you to do the right thing. They're happy to take a chunk out of the company and hurt it. That's all that matters to them. It's being so overblown. Like, with respect, no one gives a frick about you if you're a small streamer. They don't. The affiliates don't care about you. Why should they? You don't bring anything to the table. Bring something to the table, and then they'll care about you. It's business. Stop taking it personal. Like, grow the frick up. This is a real world. You know what I'm saying? Grow the frick up. Grow all the way frick up. You know what I'm saying? It's so irritating. No one cares about you. You know, they don't. Why should they? It's a business. It's a business. Stop taking it personal. 14 months from Hilly at a tier 2. Summoning is basically pay to win. All right, guys, new poll. How many people think that summoning in Elden Ring is pay to win? Then why have an affiliate giveaway? Listen, I don't want to get sidetracked on this because we're talking Elden Ring, but they should have just stipulated, we're going to do an affiliate giveaway, and you need X number of conversions, or you need X number of clicks, or X number of followers. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen, most companies don't even let you become an affiliate unless you hit a minimum threshold. So this idea that all you had to do was put a banner in your channel, and then the girl's like, well, the small streamers are the backbone of the company. How are you the backbone of any company with 0 clicks? How are you the backbone of anything? You don't have any clicks. You're not the backbone of anything. You've converted nothing. That's the facts. That's not hateful. That's not unkind. That's not. You're a 0 within the company's profit margins. You're not anything. That's not an insult. That's a fact. You've got 0 conversions. You don't even have 0 conversions. You have 0 clicks. You have 0 clicks. What, you know what I'm saying? It's on them. They should have set it up, because most companies won't even let you be a quote-unquote affiliate unless you hit a minimum threshold. The fact that you consider yourself an ambassador because you put a banner in your profile, it's stupid. I paid for Elden Ring. Elden Ring has summoning. If I didn't buy Elden Ring, I wouldn't be able to beat the game. Therefore, the game is pay to win. Yeah, it's just bad PR. He stepped in it. Listen, he said something that every company out there says behind closed doors. So they can all posture that they care about small streamers. You should ask them, how much free equipment have you sent to small streamers? How much? None. Are you going to start sending really expensive equipment to small streamers? No. Why? Because it's a business. Like, treat it like a business or shut the frick up. Like this entitled, whiny, you insulted smaller streamers. You're not some protected class that's been insulted. They didn't insult your culture or your country. Shut the frick up. You're just another person out here who's upset at the fact that you're viewed as you are. A very small reach, 0 converting small streamer, and businesses have no desire to work with you. Why? Because they're not a charity. They're not a charity. So go start your own charity PC building company and just hand out PCs like friggin' Johnny Appleseed to every poor small streamer out there. Stupid. The whole thing was stupid and overblown. People acted like he said, well, we're not going to give the PC away to her because she's a woman. Like, that's what they acted like. They acted like it was so offensive. Oh my gosh. He pointed out the fact that you have 0 reach and no one's clicked on your affiliate link, right? He shouldn't have done that. Incredibly poor taste. But he didn't he didn't insult who she is as a person. He just spoke in facts. Can we hit 200 likes? Yeah. I had to pay for Elden Ring as a 0 viewer non-streamer, and they said I would get it for free. Lono has exhausted his search of Limgrave. I find a few more caves that I don't think he's found. You found some that I haven't found? Yeah, we explored. So today, if you're tuning in, our Elden Ring gameplay this afternoon, we're going to be going through Lorinia Lakes, the Lorinia of the Lakes or whatever. I don't know how to say it. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing that we did in Limgrave. We're going to exhaustively search and find every nook and cranny. If you're just tuning in, we want to know what you think. Take the poll at the top of the chat. Elden Ring gameplay. Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Is it just right? Where do you land on the Elden Ring difficulty debate? I think people are getting it right. I think it's just right. Some people feel as though summoning the NPCs feels like cheating, okay? I'll be honest with you. It did. I felt like I cheated. I'm not saying you're cheating for summoning an NPC. I'm saying my experience, my perspective, it felt like I cheated. This is supposed to be a really tough fight. This is supposed to be a really huge moment, and I beat him my second try because I summoned some chick that whooped the tar out of him, right? 7 months from Ash, and I can't get over how large the game is, and the mausoleums are amazing. I hope this is giving you good numbers. The supportive gameplay has been incredible, and I really hope it continues. It's going up. So those of you that are tuning in for the gameplay, thank you so much for that. I understand not wanting spoilers, so I'm trying to go extremely, extremely slow, hoping that most of you won't have spoilers if you watch me. I'm loving this game. It's so cool. Probably my best game in a long time. Listen, man, I really hope you guys are hitting that subscribe button, the bell button, and the like button. It's free to click all those buttons, and it helps me do what I do, and it's going to help us play this game and just have an absolute blast. The growth and the support from the FromSoftware community has been incredible, so thank you for... This sounds so cheesy, but it's kind of a dream come true to be like, we put a lot of work into this. Like, every Friday was From Friday for a very long time. We really put a lot of work and effort into the Elden Ring coverage, and you guys have brought the support. It's been so steady and helpful and reliable. The only other thing we'd love to see is membership go up. We'd really like to see 500 members as we sort of build this entire brand. We've got Reforge Gaming, and then Reforge Radio, and then we got all these other Reforge channels, Reforge Updates, and Reforge First Look. So we really would love the membership here on gaming to continue to go up. So thank you for being here. As a community, we could help out with clips when Lono finds something significant. I'm trying to go back to and timestamp the boss fights, so if people want to see my boss fights after they've done it themselves, they can go back and find them very easily. I'm trying to do that for you guys that watch, those of you that watch the VODs that can't be here live. My lead on Lono is still pretty healthy, so I'm here for gameplay. Thank you, Arch Enigma. I feel like every boss says, this is Anello speaking, has mechanics to counter different playstyles. Obviously, some are harder on strength builds or magic builds than others, but overall, it's very well balanced. Yo, Tynetig or Tinatig coming in with a brand new membership. Let's get a member train going. That's the first new member of the day. Hop on, jump on. The members at the top of the chat. Let's keep members up at the top of the chat like that. Keep clicking that join button. What's good, Exotic? How are you? I personally am getting crushed in Elden Ring, but no Souls experience here, says Vengeance. Thinking about switching up my character, the halberd is so slow. Vengeance, I'm telling you, if you're new, one of the best things you can do is just run sword and board. Because the guard counter with a shield and the sword animations are super, super helpful. Like, just grab a vagabond, unequip the halberd so you're not fat rolling, and just get good at sword and shield, guard counter, and rolling. If you can get good at those elements of fighting, that's, I think, your catalyst into Elden Ring. I truly think so. The guard counter with a shield is significant. It's a super, super great mechanic that can help. It's kind of slow, though. You have to choose. You have to choose your moments. You can't just do it. If you know they're going to be doing a big, huge flurry, then you can roll out of the way, pull your shield up, dink, dink, and they'll hit you for the final two, and then do your guard counter. One of the biggest problems is you get hungry to do it, and you do it at the wrong time. You got to choose your moment for guard counter. Fat rolling is good for backstabs. If you are new, play Samurai, says Butters. You can small shield and sword, and it starts with parry and bleed right off the bat. There's another recommendation that's very similar to mine. Very similar to mine. Or just use magic. See, but you have to understand something. You know that magic is strong and good as a veteran Souls player. You can't start some new player off with magic build because you got to play in such a particular way. No, here's a tip. Your Godric Remembrance and use it for 20k runes, then go to the Mausoleum and get his Remembrance again. Then you can get the weapon if you want. Wait, so a Remembrance is what? Me fighting him again? Is that how it works? Timing is everything, I'm finding? Yes. Yeah, I over-Q on dodge. I over-Q on roll so often. I roll a third time when sometimes I only need to roll twice. I consistently do that. It's my biggest weakness in these games, is I overcompensate. I over-dodge. I've been running dual scythes, which does crazy damage, but it leaves me exposed with no shield. Thinking about going back to one hand and shield. Man, I'm telling you, shield is so good. I got that turtle shield, and what's that ability that I use? What's that Ash of War I use where I make the shield crazy strong? Oh, that's great. It's so good for guard counter against the stronger enemies. And then I pull out my two-hand, and then my Ash of War is a thrust. So I've got thrust, I've got my shield that can then do more guard counter, which helps bust their posture. Oh, I feel really strong in fights right now. Is it barricade shield? Is that what it's called? It's really nice. The turtle shell, and I make it glow. It makes it really, really easy for me to do my guard counter on a harder enemy, and then I can go two-hand and do my thrust. By the time I do that, one or two more heavy hits with right trigger, and I can break I break a lot of posture right now. It feels really good. The only thing I need to work on is when I break the posture of a mid-level enemy, like the knights with like the spears and the shields and stuff, I have to wait to get the critical strike on them. I tend to immediately hit light attack, which busts them out of it, and then you can't do like the stab in their chest. Yo, Demins with 13 months. Happy Wednesday. What's the best time of day? 6:30. Hands down. Oh gosh, Demins. I was like, what the frick is this joke? I don't get it. Now I get it. Man, come on. Demins is keeping the membership train going. Look at that. We got members at the top of the chat. Keep clicking join or rejoin to keep that train going. Magic and range builds are totally new player friendly, says Corey. Oh, so you're disagreeing with me. Because you don't have to get close to enemies. You just bust things down from the safety of range. But Corey, don't you think the minute they get into an actual boss fight, doesn't that change? I've had people say that they're going magic and they have a hard time in some of the areas because they is it called a riposte? Do they label that a riposte when you like go up and stab them in the chest and then pull the sword out? I felt like, I'm speaking for people here, I feel like the people that were talking about doing magic builds, they were having some trouble in the early areas because you have to stay back, and sometimes you just can't. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Savage Shark Bite with 7 months says, holla, double dip. Thank you for the double dip. Keeping the member train going. Magic boys will have a tough time against the second demigod. Yes, it's riposte. I thought it was just called a critical hit. There are also very aggressive bosses that don't give you enough time to cast spells. Yeah, you got the casting. That was something else somebody brought up. 7 months from Silent Warrior. Keeping the train going. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's just called a critical hit. Because you break their posture and you do a ton of damage when you're patient. That's the biggest thing I need to work on. This is my first Souls or FromSoftware game playing a Faith Magic build. It hasn't been too hard. Okay, all right. Okay, so if you're struggling in the beginning, the person that spoke up and said that, they were struggling, they were using the halberd. If you're struggling, I think you have some really, really good input right now. You've got some good input. You could say, all right, I'm going to go magic. People are saying that the magic build is good. People are saying that I am saying that the build with sword and shield on Vagabond's good. Somebody said samurai is good because you get a small shield and you get bleed right at the beginning. So that you got a lot of options right now. If you want to kind of start over and you want something that's a little bit more noob friendly. Anything that's going to be slow is not going to be new player friendly, if that makes sense. Like a big giant sword or a big giant halberd or something like that. The slower the weapon, the harder it's going to be for a newer player because you've really got to choose your moments when you got those big long animations. More story there, says Mo. Lono, also go to the round table and talk to the Finger Maiden. Oh, I've got story to advance. That's right. I need to go back there. Oh, the train almost stopped, but Coral Reefer is keeping the member train going. Welcome to Reforge Gaming. Enjoy the dope badge and emotes. You are dope and deserve dope stuff. Guys, don't forget, about the fact that if you are a paying member here, you get increased access in our Discord server. You can go to discord.gg/ReforgeTV or follow me on Twitter at ReforgeTV. Those are all the ways you can connect. And as a paying member, we give you more access in there. Corey says, the difficulty is managing large groups. You have to know what spells to use and when. This game has a magic sword that allows you to attack with, and it's super quick cast. Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges, though, Corey, is some of the early areas, there's a lot of enemies, right? You got to choose the sword. The sword is the way to go. You got to put in work with any build regardless. Good luck to anyone playing and enjoy the beautiful world of Elden Ring. Yeah, for real. Morning Lono in chat. Yo, what's good, Amori? Riposte is a form of critical hit, along with backstabs etc. When you stab the sword in the front of an enemy, it is definitely a riposte. See, but traditionally, a riposte in sword fighting, isn't it like a parry? It's like a parry attack, isn't it? That's not really what you're doing. A quick, clever reply is what a riposte is. In fencing, a riposte is an offensive action with the intent of hitting one's opponent made by the fencer who has just parried an attack. In similar usage, a riposte is the strategic device of hitting a vulnerable point of the enemy, thereby forcing him to abandon his own attack. So you could probably call it a riposte because it is a strategic device of hitting a vulnerable point on the enemy. You could probably call it a riposte. But usually, like, guard counter is more of a riposte than the critical hit because you're blocking first. Breaking, posture, and critical is not a riposte. Yeah, riposte is like more after a parry, and guard counter is not even really a parry. It's a block and a return. Like, you're like, oh, I'm jumping back in because I just blocked. A parry and then a riposte come together as one, I believe. The game calls it a riposte in all of them. That's why we're saying riposte. Really? But I thought when you did this in Demon Souls, it had to follow a parry. You couldn't just do it to somebody. You would parry and then do it, right? Let's see here. Where's the likes at? We need 19 more likes for 200 likes. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you're new, be sure to take the poll at the top of the chat. Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? A ton of votes already. 81% are saying it's just right. Now, 10% are saying it's too hard. So there is a portion of the audience that's like, it's just too hard. That might be the people that just aren't playing. They're like, it's too hard for me, don't want to play. 8% are saying too easy. Don't most games call that a parry counter, like all games? Yeah, you can guard break anyone and riposte in all Souls? Really? Guard counter is just easy mode parry. It kind of is. It kind of is. I think the Souls community has always called that a riposte. Okay. Well, I'm going to start saying riposte because you can do criticals, or is it just a heavy attack? What's it called when I hold down right trigger and do not just a heavy, but like a charged up heavy? What's that called? This game does not call it a critical hit or a parry counter. Okay, so then what's it called when I charge up my right trigger? What's that called? This game can be easy as you make it, says Merc. The more you grind for power, the easier fights become. What's good, Zubair? Eric says, I think it's perfect. Elden Ring is a perfect mix of Souls and Breath of the Wild. I love it. That's a charged attack. Charged heavy. So it's literally just a charged attack. Okay. Riposte is generally a response, an immediate attack followed in after a parry. It just sounds like the phrasing is used commonly. Well, according to the definition that I read, it can be after a parry, but a riposte can also be a mechanism where you hit a vulnerable spot on the enemy. That's what you're doing. You're literally going up to them and just stabbing them in the chest. Like, it's not a slice. It's a stab. I mean, you are actually just like stabbing them right in the heart. And so I think it's fair. I think it's accurate to call it a riposte. Since again, in some cases they call it a riposte where you stab them in the chest. It's called a guard counter. Well, no, guard counter is a thing where you block and respond. A riposte is when you go up once you've broken their posture and you stab them in the eye or you stab them in the chest. Like you stab you can get the dragon. You can break the dragon's posture and stab him in the eye. It's awesome. Riposte is critical strike after a parry in terms of FromSoftware games. Yeah, this seems like it can also be after a posture break. Only point of criticism is that the horse combat feels really clunky sometimes, but in what game doesn't horse combat feel clunky? For sure. Oh, the member thing at the top of chat dropped off. If you want to keep the member train going, click the join button or use the join link below or the join command in chat. Too easy? Now that's a hot take. I'm asking the question, Finn. Yesterday, I beat Godric my second time, and it was largely attributed to the fact that I summoned the NPC, and she beat the tar out of him, and I got in some good hits, obviously, as well. But I beat him my second try. I wasn't even really trying, to be fair. My experience with Elden Ring gameplay has been pretty good, pretty positive, and I exhausted Limgrave, so I went in at like a 34. I'm pretty strong. And I leveled up my sword a couple of times. I've got a really nice shield. I've got the turtle shield. And I can do like the barrier thing that helps my guard counter against a really strong enemy. And so after I beat him my second try, there was people in the chat that were like, man, summoning is just easy mode. Good night, right? You were also extremely overleveled for that area. Well, and that's the thing. We were talking about it this morning. Elden Ring, and this is Creature's position, and I've kind of taken it, adopted it, and kind of added to it, is that Elden Ring does have difficulty options, but they're organic difficulty options. If you do what I did and you exhaustively, go south and clear out Limgrave and clear out the south, you're going to be really strong when you finally face Margit. You're going to be really strong when you finally face Godric. Well, that's a sort of an organic, quote-unquote, easy mode. Does that make sense? So it's not easy, but it certainly is easier. John Lumley with a $5 tip. It gets much harder, I promise. I was hoping and assuming that. Listen, I'm not saying that it's too easy. I'm asking the question. Do any of you think it's too easy? Do any of you think it's too hard? Where do you land? I actually agree with the poll. I think it's just right. Right? I think it's just right. I think the combat feels right where it should be. I don't feel like I'm flying through. I feel like I'm very slowly and methodically exploring, and I'm benefiting from that exploration. Like the fact that I was exploring the castle, the fact that I was doing that, that's how I found the NPC. So I had an NPC helping me because I took it slow. From what I've seen, too easy. I think there's the problem is we're looking at the beginning. For the Badger Fund, thank you for a $2 tip, Abe. I think the problem, Eugene, is you're watching experienced players go extremely slowly through the beginning. Like, I just beat Dark Souls 3. I just beat Sekiro. I've got some notches on my belt, okay? So I'm not some scrub. I'm not some noob going in here that doesn't know what I'm doing. I have a reasonable amount of experience and skill. Now, I'm not an expert by any stretch. No one's watching me because I'm God tier. I get the job done. I'm a little stubborn. I'm a bit like a blunt object. Like, I'll get it done, I'll get it done. And you're watching me farm the opening areas. Well, that's not the greatest sample of the game. It's going to get way harder. There's no way it's going to be this approachable for the entire time. Jamie coming in with an $8 tip. Thank you. Oh, is that a new? I've not seen that super chat sticker before, that animated controller. That one's cool. I've not seen that one before. I love that you can prep for every fight. After that, it's just a matter of learning the moveset and keeping a healthy tempo. You are your own worst enemy half the time. Oh, I definitely am. If you're new and just tuning in, we are discussing Elden Ring. Is it too easy? Cast your vote at the top of chat on that poll. Already 800 votes. Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? 11% are saying that it is too hard. Most of the difficulty in the game is behind the optional bosses, says Wheezy. Ashton says, Lono, you don't even know. Stormvale has so many hidden items and things you got to use jumping and platforms for. I discovered another shortcut and a whole other section of the map. Yeah, I think I want to go back we'll do some exploring of Lorinia because that's the title I went with and that's the thumbnail I went with. But I want to go back in that castle and look and look around. I've seen you fight like 7 bosses now. Godric was just icing for me. So, but again, Eugene, if I would have fought Godric or Margit without a summoner, if I wouldn't have summoned the NPC, don't you think that that's an acceptable level of difficulty? Both of those fights are brutal without an NPC. They're tough. You're not strolling in there and out of there that quickly. You simply aren't. There's no way. FromSoftware does not design these games for you to play super completionists, nor does the game encourage you to. So when you overlevel, it's easier. That's on you. Not really a valid complaint. When you cause the problem, I think it's erroneous to call it a problem. It's not a problem. It's how I'm playing. It's my route. Hilly with a 5 spot says, try again. Oh, there's the controller, but he's sad. He's sad. I need you guys to use that one when I fail at the boss fights. So my failure will make me rich. It's not the NPC for me. It's the jelly. Okay, but you don't have to use that, though. You have 2 NPCs? Right. I recommend exploring Lorinia thoroughly. A lot of amazing items, including a dungeon that lets you buy level 1 and 2 upgrade materials from the round table. Ooh. I just got here, but is it too easy, or could it be people are exploring and over-leveling to make it easier? That's what I mean. Like, okay, let's take Eugene's position and really test it. If I wouldn't have gone crazy exploring, not only would I have not been level 34 when I faced Godric, I wouldn't have had the jellyfish. Right? If I would have played in a more linear way, I'd have been weaker, a lot easier to kill. I would have died a lot faster, I would have done a lot less damage, and I wouldn't have had the jellyfish. It's an open world game, of course you explore, but again, that's an organic decision that you don't have to do. If you would like to have a more challenging experience, then you can take a more linear approach. And then guess what? Well, then you can go back and explore. After you beat Margit and Godric, you can be like, all right, I've now earned the right to explore this area. Why? Well, you're gonna make sure you're leveled up for the next area. You don't want to be dying to trash ads. Like, you don't want to be getting one shot from a trash ad. That's stupid. That's not going to be very enjoyable gameplay. That's you taking difficulty too far, I would say. I'll agree, Lono. It's how you play. So whoever said it's easy, the comment should be saying it's easy for them because of their skill and how they play, not that the game is easy. Hilly with a buck and a half, and it's a burger. Is that because am I supposed to steal that? You're supposed to explore and level. This talk of over level is misguided. Well, but no, I don't think so. Every game has this tension, does it not? I ran into this in Ghost of Tsushima. 7 months from English. Oh, many woke streamers does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1. The streamer holds the light bulb while the rest of the world revolves around it. That's pretty good. Every game struggles with this. I ran into this in Ghost of Tsushima. I exhaustively cleared the bottom portion of the Tsushima map, and when I got to the next area, I was so strong. The duels were extremely easy. I had it on normal, so I could have upped the difficulty. But the duels were incredibly easy. Enemies and stuff, nothing could touch me. I had so much health, so much power. So I think every game struggles with this. I think when you take the time to exhaustively explore and level, you're going to be stronger than the encounters themselves. Not that you go in and like you poke Margit one time and he falls over, but you certainly go a lot faster if you keep taking Discord out of the links. I didn't take Discord out of the links. Which channel is that? That's Reforge Gaming? I didn't take Discord out. I promise you, all I went in, I edited gaming and I edited membership. And then I realized that the podcast was wrong. I 100% did not touch Discord. If I did, it was an accident. Don't punish the player for exploring, but you got to protect them from getting too strong and steamrolling the game. Most of the bosses are optional. Hilly with another $1.50, and it's a little salt. He's showing all the new super chat. Little super chat artwork you guys can use. Funny you say that, Lono, because Asmon over-leveled so much, he indeed one-shot Margit. Whoa. You say one-shot. He did it his first try. One shot can mean two different things here. I'm saying you're not going to walk in and poke him in the eye and he falls over. That's not going to happen. I don't think you can get that strong that you can go in and kill him in one hit? You can one-shot bosses? How? How strong are people going in to do that? Like, what's the threshold? Are they getting to like 50, 60? What level are they getting to? There's more than one playthrough. Your power will have diminishing returns no matter what. Yes, you can. All right. Educate me. There is a one-shot technique. Really? How strong do you have to be to do that? If you're new and you haven't hit subscribe yet, this is something we do Monday through Friday. It's a talk show. It's kind of like an interactive radio show. I'm safe for work, so you can subscribe in confidence. Hit that subscribe button and the bell button. Throughout the week, people just throw me on in the background. It gets them through their work day. A nice video game radio show. Thanks so much for being here and subscribing to the channel. Do me a favor. We've been hitting great numbers again today. Let's shoot for 300 likes on the video. There is overpowered magic in the game. Weapon level matters more than soul level. You would have to be extremely abnormally over-leveled. I'm trying to see it. The meta is 125 according to the PvP Discord. People got to stop saying one shot when they mean one try. Be specific and precise. Your soul level matters very little compared to weapon level. I'm 53. You ain't one shot no boss with any normal build at that level. He had an ultra great sword. So, I mean, if you're going and doing a very particular build with a particular weapon and a particular strategy, and you're killing an enemy or a boss that fast, that's not normative. Do you know what I mean? We can't talk as if, like, that's a normal thing. Like, oh, man, I can't believe this guy, you can one-shot this boss. You can kill him in one hit. Can confirm that this great content to put on the background while I work. Thank you, Robert. And thanks for being a member as well. Sorry, just joined. Is it easy to call it? Is it easy because people rank up too quick, says D-Tom? I don't think so. Eugene's argument was more along the lines of like, it's too easy because you can just summon and avoid the boss. Like, you can summon a jellyfish and summon an NPC and just kind of like do your thing. If you guys are tuning in, the debate about Elden Ring is too easy. We're asking at the top of the chat. There's a poll there. Elden Ring gameplay, too hard, too easy, or just right? Cast your vote up there. We appreciate all the interaction today. Lots of new names in chat. I watch these streams on my breaks from school. Thank you. If you min-max right, you can near one-shot a lot of the bosses, but it comes from a bit of Souls content. Weapon level is important. My katana is 14. In the lakes, it takes 1 or 2 hits on most enemies. Hey, Lono, just wanted to drop in and say hi. I've been back in the office listening on Discord for 2 days now. Thank you, Expiry. We don't forget you, Expiry, either, and all the greatness you brought to the Halo nights. Whenever they do big updates and we go back there, hopefully we can get some good game modes from you again. In Elden Ring, you have much more control over how you make your character stronger. If this was Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West and you wanted to explore, you would not be able to choose if your health goes up by XP gain. Next Time Tech says, too easy for Souls players, too hard or just right for new people to the genre. I've noticed that Next Time Level, that like a lot of the too easy criticisms are stemming from people that seemingly like they have so much experience that they're really gliding over the game, like in a significant way. And it's like, well, you have tons of experience, you know what you're doing. You're going to have a pretty optimized build within the first 4 to 5 hours, so the areas are going to be you're going to move quick. Think about how your experience compounds, okay? So when you start playing Elden Ring gameplay, you jump in and you're roaming around. You already know so many base level things, which means what? It means you kill low-level enemies faster. It means you move through dungeons faster. It means you move more efficiently through areas that are going to reward you with not just runes to level your character, but better equipment or smithing stones or whatever. So your experience and your expertise is just compounding constantly. You're moving through faster. You're getting things quicker. You're clearing the map with a lot more ease and freedom than a less experienced player. So it's just going to keep compounding. Now, the only way that FromSoftware can make the game harder for you is to make it absurd for anybody else. Do you understand? If you tune the game to the veteran, you're going to make a terrible game. Let's just be honest. If they made Elden Ring for the veteran player, it would be a terrible game. It would be awful. You'd walk 10 feet and get your head chopped off. Like, welcome to Elden Ring, sucker. They kick your dead body off the cliff. That's why I say it's got organic difficulty in it. If you want a more challenging experience, you can take a more linear approach to the game and not get all the stuff and not get all levels. Well, why would I do that? If that's what matters to you. A $5 tip from Coral Reefer. People gathering smithing stones from endgame areas, returning to early game at level 80 with plus 12 weapons and wrecking bosses ruins the experience. Well, if that's what they want to do. Thanks for using the shirt command, by the way, Spawn. Guys, always remember, the shirt I'm wearing is always from 80s Tees. You can get 30% off if you use code LONO over at 80stees.com. And don't forget, we also have a Displate affiliate link and a Gunner Optics affiliate link. Use those commands or links below in the description. Thank you. That supports the channel and me directly. Oh, and don't forget the coffee. You can't use the discount code anymore, but if somebody wants to grab the final 2 bags of the Frickmas blend, there's 2 bags left. So be sure to grab those. Oh, golly, we got to reorder. We got to reorder Light. Light's getting to the final 100 bags. Too early for me to properly engage with the poll, says John. I've only played for maybe 2 hours, and as a completely new Souls player, it's fairly daunting. I also stayed away from the Get OP Quick guides. Eugene says, Lono, in my opinion, if someone quit the other games because they were too hard, but play this one because it's just right, that tells me they made it too easy. Have they beat the game yet, Eugene? Have they? That's the question. So, have they beat the game? Someone's saying that this game is just right and they avoided the other games because the other games are pretty tough. They're pretty unapproachable. Have they beat it yet? That's the real question. I was like level 34 at Godric, I think, African Jedi. Between 32 and 34, I was somewhere in there. Do you understand? Like, I guess we find out in a few weeks. Right, like, listen, and we were warned ahead of time about this. We were warned. Miyazaki said more people would complete this game than other FromSoftware games. He said it. He said that. Why? Because people can take their time. People can level up. They're going to feel more empowered. They're going to feel more invested. They're not going to feel like, well, I just got stuck at this boss and couldn't get out. I just couldn't beat him. What are your thoughts on people complaining about the 60 FPS frame cap while being too ignorant to realize that it's an artistic choice? Well, it's an artistic choice, but isn't it also an engine choice? Doesn't it help the engine and the animations and the iframes and all of that? Like, not every engine runs this way, but I believe it's also an engine level choice. Like, the engine gets, I think it gets unstable once you exceed 60, does it not? Yeah, in a couple of weeks, Eugene, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the people that were like, man, I never played FromSoftware games before, but this one's just right. This is great. This is awesome. It wouldn't surprise me if they're going to get to a certain threshold in the game and be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is too hard. I don't like this. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Connor says, I played all the Souls games and I found this one a tad bit easier, but like I played 10 hours and I still haven't progressed to Godric. I think you want a power level, then return to main story. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Oh, I think if you want to, so be it. Yeah. That's the player's choice to summon or not. Yeah, you can play through the game and never summon a single time. If you're tuning in, we are debating if Elden Ring is too easy. That's what the poll at the top of the chat is about. Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? Most people are saying it's just right. I think it's just right. I've made the argument that it's an organic form of difficulty. You can exhaust every square inch of the map. You can summon every single time, and that's going to make the game easier for you. Now, keep in mind, when I say easier, I'm not saying that it makes the game easy. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have really good climbing equipment, it makes climbing a mountain easier. That doesn't mean that climbing the mountain is easy. Do you understand? Just because you're using equipment, tools, and mechanics to make the game easier doesn't automatically then therefore mean that the game is easy. It's still a very difficult game, and it's not for everybody. There's no way that a bunch of like rookie non-veteran players are booting up this game and they're like, bro, I'm skating through. I just exhaust the map and summon. It's so easy. That's not happening. I guarantee you it's not happening. Zimzilla with a $20 tip. I've got 3 characters made and have been able to level them all up to about the same level due to learning upgrade routes and there being a quest line where you can kill enemies that provide a proportionately large amount of souls. Yeah, thank you for the $20 tip, Zimzilla. A lot of guides out there on how you can do that as well. I've encouraged people to not do that on their first playthrough. Just enjoy the game. On your alts and your second and third playthroughs, for sure, you can do that, and that's not going to be, it's not going to hurt you. I think it hurts your experience if it's your first time through. A man Finney says, the game is not hard. People just don't have patience and want to run in and hack and slash. This is not God of War. It's a Souls game. Well, God of War can actually be pretty challenging. Casuals. I don't like using the word casuals because then we get stuck into a definition quandary. Like, what do you mean by casuals? Less experience. Like, they don't play these games. You know, not casuals. We need 30-something more likes for 300 likes. Let's set our sights on it. Can we set our sights on 300 likes? Let's look at this poll. Over 1,000 votes already on the poll. Thank you guys so much for all those votes on the poll. The poll is asking the question, Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? How you know he didn't fight the Valkyries? Yeah, God of War will kick your freaking teeth in. God of War has it has difficulty. It's tough. If you turn up the difficulty in God of War, it'll kick your teeth in. It'll make you question your existence. It can be very, very tough if you turn the difficulty up or go to the right areas, do the optional fights and stuff. John with the $3 tip. End boss of Redmane Castle, one of the hardest ever. Okay, well, I look forward to it. When I say Elden Ring is my first Souls game, I enjoy it much more than Sekiro. Sekiro is a tough one to do first. If you guys aren't familiar with this community here, you'll see him talking in chat every once in a while. Acts of Eugene, and we call him Eugene. Eugene's one of the people this morning saying he's worried Elden Ring's too easy. And you can see it in the way people are responding, playing, etc. Now, Eugene also didn't think Dark Souls 3 was very hard, and he beat Nameless King his first try. You got to keep something in mind. A lot of difficulty in these games is subjective to the player's experience and the player's journey. Eugene played Sekiro first, and I think if you play Sekiro first and master that game, and then you go into the Dark Souls games and Demon Souls and all of that, it's just so much more simplified. You're just looking for animations and opportunities to roll and get iframes. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, talk me up. Well, I think that's part of the problem is I think your experience has made you biased in a strange way. You see what I'm saying? You find the how many people have beat Sekiro as their first FromSoftware game? Right? Wiki Warrior, even with the wiki, you're still having to beat those fights. Those fights in Sekiro, the wiki's not beating that boss for you. The wiki's not beating Ishin or Owl for you. There's no frickin' way. He also did like a bunch of New Game Plus stuff. Again, wikis aren't going to help with that. They're going to help you find stuff so you're not like wandering around wasting your time. Nothing peeves me more than when seasoned players play games on normal and say game's too easy. Games have difficulty settings for a reason. Does he play games blindfolded also? Definitely agree. Sekiro's way harder. My buddy didn't get past Madame Butterfly, and he beat every Souls game. That's what I mean. Like, I think a lot of people tried Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, or Sekiro, and they checked out. They're like, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't like this. It's too hard. Somebody, if you find somebody that's committed, and you go in and you play Sekiro first, and do a bunch of New Game Plus, and ramp up the difficulty, I don't think they can make a game harder than that for you. I don't. I think you've hit the summit of video game difficulty for a variety of reasons. Number one, technically, they can make the game harder for you. They could, but it wouldn't sell very well. It wouldn't be very popular. It wouldn't. So what do they have to do? I think what they did with Elden Ring is the right choice. It's organic. You can self-impose difficulty if you want, same way you can in Sekiro. Sekiro is more of a mechanical self-imposition with the bell, or whatever it's called. Lona, what do you think Godric taught the player? Was it anything different, or was it just an ultimate test like Margit? I think Godric taught you that area of effect is going to be a common thing you got to worry about. Because there wasn't a huge area of effect at Margit. Margit did a ground slam with the hammer that kind of caused an AoE, but Godric ups the ante, I think. I think that the area of effect on certain enemies is going to be a major point of frustration for me, because it's just you don't expect to need to get out of the way of it. You just expect to, like, think of it this way: how many bosses, how many Dark Souls guides and bosses and experiences break down into this? Just keep rolling behind them, hug their left leg, hug their right leg. A lot of bosses, that's what it turns into. Well, area of effect and AoE, it changes the game. It's not a matter of just like getting out of the front of them and really simplifying like positioning. It's like, no, you need to watch every square inch of their animation, because when they pound the ground, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get very, very hurt if you don't get out of the way. So I think AoE is one of the lessons you're supposed to learn after Godric. That you're going to have to either create distance or figure out how to read those attacks. Because it's one thing when they swing and you get behind them and they just miss. It's another thing when they hit the ground and every section around them is going to hurt you. I was able to dodge roll Godric's AoE slams, which surprised me. Some people's heads and egos are a little too big. The game difficulty is just right. It's how they designed it to be. Wheezy says, I'm working on finishing one of the endings right now. Jiminy Christmas, you move fast. AoE is going to take you to Pound Town. Yeah, AoE or area is a big thing. Even regular enemies use it. Like a certain enemy will use a poison cloud and does a yell where you can't even be close to them. Yeah, I pointed that out really early on. I was like, dude, they're in love with AoE in this game. Holy frick, everybody gets one. It was like in Horizon Forbidden West. It was like every enemy gets a ranged attack, you know? And in this game, they were like, every enemy gets an AoE. It's like, I think maybe they want you to be using jump when that happens. What's good, Hex? I think that might be what they're thinking. That could be some of the thought process. I don't know. Jumping feels inconsistent to me. Maybe I need to do it more. I got turned off to it very, very early because I was trying to do it. I was trying to fight the tree sentinel without a mount, and I couldn't get consistency out of jumping. So now I'm like super hesitant to try jumping, and I need to experiment with it more. Some Ashes of War should be nerfed. Jumping seems low. Yeah, because you don't jump very high. I think if you jump and attack, it gives you like an extra half a second or millisecond of like iframe float time or something. Maybe not. It feels that way. With AoE, if you can learn where the AoE is centered, it makes it easier to exploit. Margit's AoE was in front, so you dodge behind. You can get free damage. Right. Yusuf says, the game almost feels like it's poorly designed with its combat, but I just feel like that's the way it's meant to be. Can you expound on that? What do you mean? What evidence do you see of it being poorly designed with its combat? Anything specific? Godric was centered on him, so you best to back off, reset, heal up, or buff, or used ranged. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I just kept doing on him. I just backed off. I was like, all right, I'm not even going to try. Because it's like, he gave you such a long Q. It's like he like raises the thing real slow. It's like the longest visual Q you could ask for. You're like, you have plenty of time to do 2 rolls out of there and you're fine. 2 rolls and you're done. I forgot the name, but my shield has an Ash of War that lets me tank everything with little stamina cost. It's called Barrier of Light, I think. I have it on my turtle shell, and it's the turtle shell shield, and it's really nice. Especially if you're wanting to use guard counter, it ensures that you're going to be able to. It's really nice. I like it. I like it a lot. The combat is one of the things people love most. Yeah, I've not had any issues with combat. It's just called Barricade Shield. Barricade Shield. I thought it was Barrier of Light. Barricade Shield. Thank you, Chad. Yeah, I love that on my turtle shell. My last Souls game was Dark Souls 3, and it kicked my teeth in at first, but once I learned the bosses and enemies, their movesets, it got a lot easier. So far, I've been mostly the same with Elden Ring. Yeah, I just don't think they can surprise or ramp up the difficulty any more than they kind of did. I think Sekiro is the limit. And even this game doesn't seem like it gets to Sekiro's level. 2 more likes for 300, man. Just another huge day. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it very much. The support's just been crazy. The fact that I'm getting support for the gameplay is the most encouraging part. That's the most encouraging part, is that you guys are supporting the gameplay when we switch over to it. It's super awesome. The other thing that's been really dope is people coming over to Reforge Radio in the afternoon. If you're interested, we have a channel that covers more serious or cultural topics or, more serious things. Reforge Radio is our larger channel, and today we're going to be talking about Samuel L. Jackson, Joe Rogan, and hypocrisy. I'm curious what you guys think about everything that's been going on. So that's later today over on Reforge Radio. If you like the idea of that channel or that topic, make sure you're subbed over there. Fat Lump renewing their membership. Welcome back, Fat Lump. Appreciate that. Sekiro is the peak difficulty games like these should get to and still be entertaining. I think if you go past that, you're just reaching such a niche of players. That's what I said, Distorted. I'm like, I don't think it'll ever happen. Because it wouldn't sell well. Imagine making a game for a FromSoftware veteran. It would be a horrible game. It'd be awful. That's why New Game Plus is there. That's why you don't have to summon. You can choose to play the game. Like, even if you play exhaustive and explore the map, and you don't use summons, these fights are going to be tough. They're not going to be easy. Baby Yaga with a $5 tip. Renella made me realize that Miyazaki hates us. I enjoyed the conversation yesterday. I hope you do more kids stuff since my first is coming in July. Yeah, we're thinking about doing some stuff with my wife and doing some videos just about parenting and stuff. People will always show up for a game that looks good and plays good. You're also getting your butt whipped. They love it. And Ello says, what's difficulty? Bloated health bars, challenging mechanics, and BSRNG are totally different kinds of hard. Elden Ring is both hard and easy looking at all these aspects. I feel like, this is Crowded House saying this, I feel like people are still complaining that the game is too hard, simply aren't interested in being challenged in any way. They want a casual walk through a game and no penalties for dying. Yeah, I don't like to be necessarily like dismissive or judgmental. I don't think you are, but it can kind of sound that way. And so I try to avoid framing it the way that you framed it. But I do think a lot of them would say, yes, I don't want to play a game like that. I'm not looking to be challenged. I don't want to have to rise to the occasion. I don't want to have to do that. I want to play a video game, right? I remember explaining that to people that didn't understand, why in some games certain players avoided certain activities. And I'm like, because they got home from work, they put the kids to bed, they want to prop their feet, crack open a beer, and play a video game. That's what they want. And they never have a desire for anything different than that. Like what Eugene is saying. Eugene is saying, sometimes I want a game like that. And that's true. Even people that love FromSoftware games sometimes want something else. But there's a lot of gamers out there that are like, they're never going to want to play a game like this. They just don't care to, It's like you can run and ride a bike to stay in shape, right? Or you can become an insane, super committed health nut, right? Do you see? You can ride a bike casually through your neighborhood. You can buy what's the thing that comes with the subscription service? Those bikes, it's not Patello, it's something like that. I can't think of the friggin' name. You can be like me and you have a Schwinn that you try to ride regularly. Or you can be like in the gym, hitting the weights, carving your body into stone. You eat a very stringent diet. A Peloton, thank you. You see what I'm saying? That spectrum exists in and around gaming as well. Like the idea that you just want to play casually like all of the time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I guarantee you there are FromSoftware players that would say, maybe you might even say it right now in the chat, that FromSoftware games have kind of ruined you. In a good way, but they've ruined you. You go and play other games and they're just not as satisfying. They're not challenging enough. They're not hard enough. They don't scratch the gaming itch. They don't touch the gaming palette that you've developed, right? I was that way with IPAs. I thought IPAs tasted terribly. I thought they were awful. I thought they were so gross and bitter. And then I got introduced to some good ones. And now it's like I can't really go back to putting cheap beer in the house. I just can't do it. It's not that I don't like it. It's not like it tastes bad, but it's like IPAs they've ruined me a little bit. It's like this doesn't punch enough. This doesn't taste strong enough. This isn't good. This tastes watered down. Right? I've developed a palate, and that palate now says I can't really go back to the cheap stuff. Your little super cheap 6-pack of 4%ers, it's like, ugh. And I didn't like them at first. It took a while. Same thing happened with FromSoftware games. I had to play a game that started, I started to enjoy a game with punishing combat, and that game was Jedi Fallen Order. Right? I really, really liked that every fight felt important, and then I tried out Sekiro, and I just didn't feel like I had the endurance for it. I like Madame Butterfly came back to life, and I was like, I can't do this. A couple years later, I'm actually a very different person now. I have a lot more resolve, a lot more grit, and a lot more endurance, and I think that's one of the reasons I could play Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. It wasn't that I suddenly became a better gamer. It was that I had changed as a person. I didn't have the endurance. I didn't have the patience to play him back then. I was a lot more, I'm still a pretty irritable guy. I can get pretty angry and pretty complainy when I play Elden Ring. I try not to, but I, it's different than it used to be. Like, I would freaking flip out and, shut the game off in the past. I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. I wouldn't be able to push through. There's absolutely no way. You can't beat the feeling of struggling with a boss, learning their patterns, and finally overcoming them. Yeah. My fondest memory of doing that was Pontiff Sullivan. People telling me I wasn't going to be able to beat him without parry. I went in there and just finessed the frick out of him, just rolling around. It was so fun. My job is quite stressful and tiresome. Most of the times, I favor more chill games. The last thing I want after working all day is to come home and get stressed. Oh, for sure. For sure. Good morning, says Heat Reviews. This is my first FromSoftware game. It's a very challenging game, but it's not so difficult that I can't play it. I love Elden Ring. It's a masterpiece. Caitlin says, I definitely appreciate the freedom in the game because, frankly, I don't always have the time or mental fortitude to deal with the grind every time I sign in. Yeah, it definitely feels nice that you can, like, opt out of that stuff. You can be like, yeah, I'm going to go over here and do something else. I'm going to go check this out. I'm going to go check that out. You know what I'm saying? It definitely... So, like, when I would get to certain parts in Elden Ring and Sekiro, now, some of this was self-imposed, but some of it is kind of the way those games are built. That's just like, this is where you are. Right? This is where you are. There are testimonials on YouTube about playing FromSoftware games helping people build resolve in real life. I mean, part of the reason that this channel and our rebranding, I mean, everything is now under the word Reforge, and I think playing Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro and things that were happening in my personal life and professional life, I definitely think all cylinders were clanging. All cylinders were going, and it was a reforging process to push through and to beat Dark Souls 3 and to push through and to beat Sekiro. I've said it many times. I like destroying things that deserve it. Like, it feels so good. There's almost like a sense of like righteous indignation when you take down a boss that deserves it, you know? Because in life, you know, sometimes you got to watch people that have it coming, and it never happens, and it can be very frustrating, right? It can rob you of a sense of like justice and goodness, and for you to go into a game like this and just be like, no, this thing deserves to be destroyed, and to be able to do it, man, it can be pretty therapeutic. It can be pretty therapeutic, you know. And I think, like you guys are saying, it adds to resolve. It adds to your sense of grit and determination and endurance. And I really, really have enjoyed it. I am very happy that I got pretty demoralized near the end of Sekiro. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. But I pressed on, and 5 hours later, Ishin was dead. You know, that's my longest boss fight to date, by the way. I think Cinder took me around 3. He took me around 3. I love how you can get lost. I'm exploring the open world. I love it. Yeah. I've seen people tweet. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight that boss today, and then they don't. And then they don't. I just was roaming the world. That happened to me all the time in Breath of the Wild. Also, allowing your audience to see you get frustrated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a weird feeling to like let people see that side of you. To like let people see it's a glimpse into the monster. It's a glimpse into the darkness of like, you know. Everybody's got a little bit of the darkness in them, and everybody's got a little bit of the monster, right? And like letting people see that side of you, just getting freaking angry and flippant and ticked off, you know, taking myself right to the edge, you know, like letting people see that. It's a pretty big deal. I played through every Souls game. I haven't gotten through Sekiro. That would be me. Open world games go with my shiny nickel syndrome, like milk and cookies. Yeah, you're like, oh, a shiny quarter, a shiny dime. Look at that. I can spend hours looking at the world. I love how vertical the world is. Nothing is really flat or feels like a bore to walk like in Skyrim. First time that a FromSoftware game finally clicked with me, finally beating a tough boss, the feeling of that victory after getting your teeth kicked in, not many other games can match that feeling. How do you feel about Metroid Dread and the polarization about its difficulty? Yeah, I felt pretty bummed about that game because I did not know that was the direction that they were going to go, and I was pretty disappointed. I started to get into a lane with it, but like I couldn't do it. And then I tried to go back to it recently, and I just was like, no, I just don't like it. The sneaky areas just I don't find it to be satisfying gameplay. The controls don't feel precise enough for some of the things that you're trying to do. I end up slipping off the edge of stuff. I was pretty disappointed. And I know they're wanting to add difficulty options because I think a lot of people said, like, this just isn't what I was wanting out of a Metroid game. And I wanted Super Metroid, the sequel, basically. And we got a Metroid, what was the game that it was inspired by? It was supposed to be the spiritual successor to another Metroid game that was really, really hard. If you're just tuning in, Elden Ring is too easy is sort of the debate question. Where do you land on this? There's a poll at the top of the chat. Over about 1,300 votes. Holy moly. Elden Ring gameplay. Too hard, too easy, or just right? Answer the poll at the top of the chat. Fusion, that's it. Metroid Fusion. Yeah, it's basically the successor to Metroid Fusion, and I was not expecting that. We're trucking along on likes as well. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you want to talk in chat. Let us know what your experience has been with Elden Ring. What do you think? Some people thinking it's just too easy. You can summon, you can over-level, you can explore and be really, really strong. And other people thinking like, no, it's just right. My position is that it's a more organic difficulty that you can self-impose and make it pretty tough on yourself by playing the game very linearly. This debate essentially started yesterday when I beat Godric my second time. I just went in, I wasn't really trying. I was just seeing how the summoning worked. I wanted to see how strong the summoned NPC was. And we broke his posture so fast and put him to phase 2 so fast. I was like, well, let's go. Let's try to kill him. And we did. Now, I was in the low 30s, 32, 34, something like that. And I've been doing a lot of exploration and leveling, so I was pretty strong. My weapon was also pretty strong. And so the debate kind of started like, man, that was just too easy. That should have been a lot harder. And I thought, okay, well, let's talk about that tomorrow. Do I have a favorite boss so far? I don't know if I have a favorite boss so far. I think I liked Margit more because I felt like I actually fought Margit. Godric has such a great intro and such a great vibe, but I felt like I didn't really fight him. I'll be honest. Summoning does feel like I'm kind of cheating, but I'm like, listen, I'm trying to get through this game and have a good time with the audience. I'm not trying to make it harder on myself unnecessarily. Like, I'm not trying to be a purist. So I was like, I'll summon. The guy that gave me the crazy sword with like all the swords coming off of it, it kind of looks like the Game of Thrones chair, or the Game of Thrones throne. That guy's pretty cool. He was pretty fun. And I summoned on him, and it really affected the fight. You have 2 difficulty levels, Jelly difficulty, easy mode, and Elden difficulty, hard mode. Can we all agree that, quote, get good is kind of hilarious, though? It still makes me laugh every time I hear it. Yeah, I like the joke that somebody made yesterday, Margit good. You got to Margit good. The difficulty is what you make it. You can go power level and get gear and smithing stones beyond what is necessary for an easier experience, or not, and make it more difficult. Crucible Knight's a good fight. Yeah, I've heard that. Have you seen the Darth Maul Elden Ring clip? Yeah, it's cool. It's very, very cool. It's awesome. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're debating Elden Ring gameplay. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Where do you land on the discussion? Hit subscribe so you can talk in my chat. If you've never been here before, this is kind of what we do. We take a topic, we take video game news, variety gaming coverage, and I just talk about it with the audience. Very interactive. I'm a safe for work broadcaster. You can subscribe in confidence. A lot of people subscribe and throw me on in the background throughout their Monday through Friday kind of week and treat me like a radio show. So thanks for being here. Always remember to hit the like button as well when you guys are here every day. That helps out the video. I beat Margit, but I still went back to clear most of the first area. and thought it was maybe over leveled. I entered the castle and I'm getting destroyed again. It's definitely not easy. Just wondering how fast you can run. Did you try to go down the road? Would love to see your reaction. What road? What are you talking about? Which road? Are you talking like the main entrance to the castle where they shoot you a bunch? I like the demi-human summon. There's 5 of them, and they're pretty tanky. The NPCs aren't available for future campaign bosses, so you don't got to worry about them being too easy like Godric. Yeah, but Coral, somebody said, there were people saying this morning that no, that it's inconsistent. There are bosses where you can summon and bosses where you cannot. What's good, Agent Atwood? Going down the old town road? Yeah, I'm not sure what he's talking about. I did go through this weird trap path and got a good meteorite staff last night that's supposed to be really good. Staff is really still really confusing to me on how scale matters. Sandybot says, I think the difficulty is mostly tied to getting access to higher level weapons with some of the insane requirements. So no spoilers, but essentially after Godric, says Wheezy, I've only found one boss that has a gold summon. Here's the thing, Wheeze. Some people said that you have to discover the NPCs in order to summon them. Like, I would not have been able to summon the woman at Godric if I hadn't found her. Do you think maybe there's some that you haven't found? Because when I said that this morning, Wheezy, there were a lot of people in chat that were like, no, there's more bosses where you can summon. They didn't say one. They said it's kind of random. They're available if you progress quests correctly and find the NPCs. Yeah, so maybe you might have missed them. I just killed Relina at Academy, says Coral Reefer. No NPC. Possibly later ones have assistants, but I don't think we'll see them at future campaign bosses. You could summon Rogier and you meet him after Margit. Well, Margit's a little bit different, because you don't summon Roger, you summon like an ethereal version of him, do you not? When that chick shows up at Godric, like, she's actually there, isn't she? Good, it makes the game better then. Every main boss in Dark Souls 3 had a summon partner if you progress quests. Really? How do you even track quests to begin with? You gotta remember, I've got some item that I found in the castle, and I think I've got to take it back to some woman that I met. I'm fairly certain there was a woman, and I met her somewhere, and she said, please look for such and such. My husband or something left it there, I think. You will 100% have to discover them. I couldn't summon the girl at Godric. Rodden, you can summon 7 NPCs to help. Absolutely, you can keep summoning them. You could summon an NPC for Cinder? Huh. The girl that helps with Godric is just before the boss room. Yeah, she's like tucked away. She's pretty easy to find, honestly. I haven't had time to pick up my copy yet. How's the game thus far? Really good. Really, really good. You can't track quests in Souls games. You just have to know what you are doing. True RPG idea of the players keeping track of his own adventure. It's amazing. They've been doing it in all the games, but this game takes the cake of complex quests and multiple outcomes. And you can level your spirits with her. Oh, I need to go back to her. I don't remember where she was. I forget where she was. I just beat the tree spirit yesterday at 41. Oh, that's right. I fought the tree guy yesterday. That was another fight that was relatively easy. It was pretty approachable. I'm very impressed with the coffee. I normally put a little something in it, but I'm just drinking it black. Yo, thank you for the testimonial, Chase. A lot of people really like the Rageless Roast, just black, because of the balanced acidity. It's very, very smooth. It's very, very smooth. If you guys haven't ordered any of the coffee yet, I always say try the light roast. Our light roast and the dark roast are the same base flavor. The dark roast is obviously just roasted a little bit longer, but they both have balanced acidity. It's a medium-bodied coffee. It's got honey undertones. It's got a real smooth finish, and it's got balanced acidity. And then the holiday blend, there's only 2 bags left of the holiday blend if anybody wants to grab it. No more discount because we're out of February, but there's only 2 bags left of the holiday blend, and then when it's gone, it's gone. This is a medium-bodied, bright seasonal crisp finish with balanced acidity as well. All of our coffee has balanced acidity. So, and that's not a sponsor, by the way. Like, this is mine. Like, my wife and kids package this up and ship it to you. Like, my kids draw you pictures and stuff. So, I'm just here for the coffee. I ain't playing no Elden Ring. But yeah, we've got sponsors like Displate. We've got Gunner Optics. My shirt's always from 80s Tees. Those links below, you can use the commands in chat. But the coffee is ours. Stormhill Shack is where she's at. Okay, I can probably remember that. Place order on Light. Yeah, we need to initiate an order on Light. Yep. We're down to like the final 100 bags. And with as long as this last order is taken. I try to ignore quests. I only get frustrated for screwing them up. Chris Game with a $10 tip. Thank you so much. Very new here, brought over from searching for Elden Ring gameplay, definitely staying to hang. This group seems awesome, and of course, I can listen to Lono all day. That's very kind of you. Thank you for the $10 tip in for saying that. I appreciate that very, very much. We put a lot of time and effort into making sure it's a really, really good talk show. The talk show's been a little bit shorter yesterday and today because we want to get in that gameplay, and because we're going over to Reforge Radio in the afternoon. So make sure you're subscribed to Reforge Radio. It's our larger channel that we're sort of turning into a any topic, anything goes radio show. So today we're talking about Samuel L. Jackson, Joe Rogan, and hypocrisy. Should be a good one. So make sure you're over there this afternoon. Are you guys controlling the roasting too? It'd be fun to geek out about coffee sometimes. We have a company that roasts, bags, and labels it for us, and then it shows up at my house on like a skid. So we work with them. They flavor matched my coffee because I originally had the coffee with another company. They flavor matched it, and then we launched the dark roast because the light roast is the original flavor. Then they went up to the dark, and then we did the holiday one as well. So they send us like flavor samples, and we pick the one that we think is the best, and then we send them the label. And yeah, it's really, really good. It's a great company to work with, and it's been a really, really great sort of like small family business thing. You know, the kiddos get to like take part. It's teaching them good work ethic, you know, and you guys get like a nice little thank you note from my kids. It's good. It's been really, really good. You guys have really supported it, and it's been awesome. That sounds awesome for radio. Yeah, to catch some of you guys up, if you missed the announcement, split screen just wasn't going to work long term. The only way that channel was really going to fly was with uploads where I was covering drama, and I didn't want to cover drama. I didn't want to make 9 videos about Pokimane because most of that is just so fake and contrived and made up. It's not genuine. And so I was like, I don't want to cover this crap anymore. And then if we would have gone purely shoutcasting, that wasn't going to work either long term. I was going to burn out, and the content was going to get kind of samey and kind of repetitive. And so I was like, let's launch the personal channel. Let's Creature liked Reforge Radio. I liked it as well. If it continues to get good support and good turnout, we're going to launch a playlist over there and talk about my own kind of journey and my faith and stuff. But that'll be its own playlist. It won't be the main portion of the channel. So, what do you mean? Your wife and kids don't go out and pick the beans off the trees and process them? Here, I thought we were... Yeah, that's right. Child labor would be a better word. I've got a subscription with a local micro roaster, but I'm always down to try new ones. We have gotten really good response to the coffee, Suede. We've gotten really good response. I've had a couple of people say that they let coffee snobs drink it, and they're like, he's not charging enough. So we've gotten really, really good compliments, and we're very pleased with the results. So, since drinking dark roast, my IQ has increased. Reforge Radio is available in audio format starting this morning as well. Oh, it is? Good. I want to see something. Did you upload the video, Creature, for Spotify? Since we have that unlocked over there? Is it a... Let me see. Let's see here. Announcing Reforge Radio. Can you see the video? Or is it just audio? You did not. Okay. We'll do that eventually. Just got a blip. A couple people have said they've gotten blips today, but not a lot, so that's good. You was in a hurry, much to do. No, it's good. We'll do that eventually. Reforge Radio will hit Spotify in video format. That'll be dope. We got that unlocked with our podcast distributor, so that's exciting. I drank some dark roast to give me a boost last night, and I clapped Godric's cheeks. Well, I mean, that's all the testimony we need right there. If you drink Rageless Roast, it'll help you beat bosses in Elden Ring, so... If you guys can't catch Reforge Radio in the afternoon, just subscribe on Spotify or any of the podcast platforms. That'll help us get that monetized, because the listenership will be pretty low in the beginning. But if you can't catch it live on YouTube, you can always listen to the audio versions later. I tend towards dark roast already. I'll be hitting that up after I go through the Frickmas. Yeah, the Frickmas is a medium, and then the dark roast is a step up from there. Can't you do video format on Apple? I don't know. We use a distributor that works with Spotify, and we got that unlocked. So I'm 25, and I've always been agnostic. Lately, I feel like I'm at that age where I'm searching and wondering where I'll land. So I would definitely watch with an open mind. Yeah, I love having conversations with agnostics. I worked with one. I loved it. Great conversations. They could add a difficulty mode that creates hard or soft restrictions on game mechanics, such as how many potions you can get, level restrictions, etc., hardcore Iron Man. Listen, if you want Elden Ring gameplay to be more difficult, then just do that. You still have 4 bags? Nice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want Elden Ring gameplay to be more challenging, you can do all those things. You can limit how much you do. You can never summon. You can limit your weaponry. You can limit your flasks. Like, there's so many things you can do to impose some good and genuine organic difficulty. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why I keep calling it, the game has organic difficulty settings. The player can largely determine how hard the game is. It's in many respects, it's up to you. It's not that much different than going in and checking a box and saying, put on hard mode or put on easy mode. It's up to you. You know, don't explore. Don't use summons. Don't use all those smithing stones on your weapons. Like, you can, if you feel like you've really nerfed yourself too far, well then, don't go in the extreme. I don't want it to be more difficult, but to appease the folks who do, by adding a difficulty mode, it would standardize the settings and filter players into a bracket. Well, here's the thing, Casper. I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell people that want an easy mode in games like this. The game's not designed for that. They can't just give enemies more health and you less damage. It's not built for that. How much does a class change the difficulty? I've heard some say magic is OP and others say it's insane difficulty. So your class is going to affect your first 2 to 5 hours of gameplay. After that, it's largely going to be determined by what you use. What weapon are you using? How high level is the weapon? Are you leveling it up? Do you know what the frick you're doing? Right? Magic is incredibly strong, but you got to know what you're doing. Because you got to keep distance. There's casting times that have to be considered. Some of the enemies are going to be so aggressive, it's going to make it really, really hard to use magic. But magic is going to get to a point where, yes, you get pretty far and you've built it out, and you're going to be like, yeah, this is really strong. Similarly, I think weapon builds can be very, very strong. Elden Ring classes are not designed for you to be like, oh, I'm 15 hours in and I am a samurai. The class kind of fades into the background. It gives you starting gear and a starting allotment of stats, but once you get past the 5th hour, it's largely determined by what you're investing in and what you're doing. It's also determined by how good you are. Because listen, I'm running Sword and Shield. I think I play pretty good with a Sword and Shield, but there are times I play like a dum-dum. I get obsessed with heavy strikes. I get obsessed with guard counter, and I make dumb decisions. I start prioritizing busting their posture over just chipping away at their health. Magic classes or builds can be a bit difficult at first. They start with limited spells and weaker armor, so earlier in the game can be difficult. Yeah, there's kind of a hump you got to get over. I started Dark Souls 3. I'm a newbie to Soulsborns. Beat everything up to the DLC and the final boss in 3 days. My impression is the Souls format translated to the Breath of the Wild layout could be broken real easy. Well, yeah, if you not broken easy, but definitely easier if you do it right. Once you develop your spell options and get some better gear, you get better and the magic shines. It's going to be fun talking to. It's going to be fun talking. I'm an agnostic too. Oh, you are? Man. I like talking to agnostics because you don't have good answers. I'm teasing. I'm being half serious. I like talking to agnostics because you don't have a lot of answers to questions, and it makes for good conversation. It's fun. It's fun. When I worked with this guy, that was something he always said. He's like, "This is really fun." He's like, I didn't have answers to some of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Who does? You know? Who's walking around with an answer to every hard question that life brings us? Like, you know what I mean? The classes are all in the weapons, says Distorted. Don't think of yourself as the class you start with. Those are only to help you start the game and walk down an ideal path. Huh. Now I kind of want to just show up to argue against you. That's part of the joy of what we can do over there on Reforge Radio. Seriously. It's just, let's just talk, you know? If you guys haven't heard me say this, when it comes to matters of like philosophy and belief and faith, I'm not going to try to convince you to come to my side, but I'm going to try and put a pebble in your shoe. I'm going to try and put a splinter in your mind. Like, I never thought about that, or I didn't have a good answer to that. Like, I'd rather do that. Like, let's just have a really good discussion. And maybe you put a pebble in my shoe. Maybe I got to go research something. Maybe I got to go read a book. I never thought about that. My position's weak in that way. Let me think about that. It can be really enjoyable if you approach it in that way. It really, really can. Don't fall for the lies. Magic is really easy in Elden Ring. It was nerfed from the connection test, and it's still really easy. Well, I mean, that's just so... I feel like you're overstating it, Wheeze. Is it really that easy? Like, are you going to literally cruise through the game with a magic build? I don't know. I feel like you're overstating it a little bit. You're stating it so strongly, it's hard for me to be like that to think that it's accurate. I have a feeling I'm going to tick a bunch of people off on those topics, but also, how's that any different than normal? Yeah, but Eugene, as long as you approach it in a charitable way, I don't care. I had some guy get ridiculously preachy in the comments last night. I just deleted all of his stuff. It was obnoxious. He left like 15 comments just being obnoxious. I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for conversations. You want to talk down to me and act like I'm not educated. Check out what Paul posted in the Discord. This is my guide for anybody having trouble with Margit. All right, he's going in. He summons. He did a stab. He's casting. Stabs, rolls. His recovery from stabbing is really high. Is that because of his... Is that... Posture's already broken. Okay. So he's chunked 20% easy. 20-25%. So again, so much of what he's able to do is because of the summoned NPC, though. I think that's important to point out. Just casting like crazy. You also have to keep in mind that this magic build is incredibly squishy because he's got to make sure his flask is allocated to blue. So he's got him down to 45% health now. And continues to just chunk him from afar. NPC still alive. NPC comes in, saves the day a bit, draws some aggro. And oof, got a little too close. Posture broken. Oh, he missed the posture broken window to get the riposte. Gonna have to drink, get his health back. NPC still alive, and Margit is down to the final 5%. And NPC's going to die on this next swing, more than likely. And yeah, that's the end of the NPC. And Margit dies. That's without the jellyfish. Yeah. Yeah, so much of that, though, comes down to the fact that you summon the NPC. Like, try and do that fight without the NPC. From average players just backpedaling with magic. Yeah, but you can't do that in every fight, right? So he's not going to be able to use he's not going to be able to use that strategy in every single fight. Because you're not always going to have an NPC to open up the fight for you like that. He literally never paid attention. He hit, if that was Paul's character, he hit Paul 3 times. 3. He swung at him 5 times. Yes, you can. I don't think you realize. Do you just constantly backpedal and you can constantly stay out of their attack range? I mean, I guess you could run. A lot of the fights Godrick's arena is pretty big. I don't think you realize how much they buffed magic in Elden Ring. That fight, again, he did summon an NPC. We are screaming to 13,000 subs. Holy moly. Beautiful visual example on the live stream. I don't have Discord pulled up on my rig to show you. Like, I was watching that on my streaming rig. I have a faith build and many bosses are not a walk in the park, and if you can't summon, it's almost impossible at times. Like, I cannot kill the crystal bull. It kills me every time. I need to level up. Margit Shackle is an incantation that will freeze Margit, and it can be used multiple times in battle. Really? Somebody told me about the Shackle yesterday. It might have been Coral that kept bringing up the Shackle. If the bosses had to be overly aggressive to deal with magic players, it would make them a nightmare for melee players. It's fine how it is. I don't think a game needs to be difficult to be fun. I feel Souls players are used to optimizing builds and getting resources to optimize DPS, so when you make the open world, it falls apart for Souls fans. Have the reviews turned a corner on Steam yet? Or are they still really bad? They were 60% the last time I checked. Let's see. Elden Ring is now mostly positive, 79%. So maybe they purged. Did they purge a bunch of the non-verified reviews? Were people just hating? What's the Discord? Discord.gg/ReforgeTV. I'll use the command in chat for you as well. Thank you, Distorted. He's also doing it. Sometimes as astrologer, I feel OP. I can keep distance and let my summons tank. Then I head to the far east and the north, and I'm reminded how weak I am. Yeah, you trade a lot for the magic to have the magic. You know what I mean? You trade it on your flasks. You trade it on your on your armor and your build. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like at a certain level, I think it's okay. Like, if you're taking that level of risk and that level of slant in your build, I think it's okay that you're that strong. Far East and North are essentially near the end of the game areas. You're 100% right. So many bosses seem like it would be easier if I was a Dex and Strength build and had more health points and better armor. No purge on Steam. People who quit almost immediately were just the first to review. I mean, the performance issues, it was deservedly getting kind of ripped up for the performance issues. I'm playing as a samurai, and larger enemies are challenging but still fun. Mages are glass cannons. I get almost 2-shot. You don't need health, though, because healing spells, and you're taking less risk in battle. Right, but they're taking the risk of, like, if they make a slight misstep, if their summoned jellyfish dies, like, if they get hit once or twice, they might die. They're on death's door. I mean, imagine doing a magic build against Godrick yesterday. I would have probably died from that one flurry that I got caught in. Why? I probably wouldn't have been as healthy. Maybe I would have. I don't know. Maybe you invest a lot in your vigor when you're playing as a mage. I'm astrologer and casting is slow, which gets me hit. Spell swords builds where it's at. I die in 2 hits to most bosses, so I have to be cautious, and some one hit me. It's a risk reward. If you level up your weapon early, the game gets pretty easy, but I'm assuming late game my damage won't increase as much as enemy health will. It's already happening. Yeah, I was imagining there would be a pretty sharp shift. Tally says, my man Asmongold, I know you don't handle these titles, but this is a big slap in the face of the WoW community and the team that built the raid. 2 to 3 bosses on normal with a crap group. Come on, man. I'm not Team Shadowlands, but even I can't agree here. Trash sucks, though. WoW's new raid is so bad, Asmongold just quits. So Tally's calling him out. I mean, it's a very light-hearted call-out. He's not, like, being rude about it. It seems pretty light-hearted. We're getting a lot of followers on the Reforge Gaming Twitter. Thank you for that. You can follow us on the main hub at Reforge TV, or you can just follow us at Reforge Gaming on Twitter if all you're interested in is this channel. You'd have sat back spamming magic from absolute safety, but he's going to cover ground and get close to me, is he not? Dex affects spell speed, which is why you should be leveling Faith, Int, Main, then secondary Dex and something else. He quit live yesterday and he fired up Elden Ring. A YouTuber using clickbait? It's not clickbait if he actually quit. That seems like it's a genuine opinion. He didn't like it and he quit. And he went and played Elden Ring. I don't know. It sounds to me like it's not clickbait. He actually thinks that. Seeker of Justice with a $5 tip. Drinking your coffee, listening to you, and interacting with chat is an awesome experience, no cap. My kids use the term, but I'm not that cool. Thank you for the $5 tip. All that praise of coffee, and we didn't sell any, so everybody's stocked up the last 2 days. So you guys stocked up the coffee. I was hoping maybe a new person would snag some, because once you buy it, you keep buying it. Fair warning, don't buy my coffee unless you want to keep buying it, because it'll spoil other coffee for you. My wife can't drink some of her favorite coffees like from local places. If you've been enjoying today's show, do me a favor though, smash the like button. We only need 16 more for 400 likes. The poll has just done an amazingly today. 1,500 votes. Elden Ring gameplay, too hard, too easy, or just right? Where do you land on the subject? And there will be Elden Ring gameplay today. We're going to be exploring Lernia of the Lakes. That's where we're going to be hanging out. That is where we're going to be hanging out today. We just beat Godric yesterday. We didn't even intend to beat him, but we did. And it sparked today's debate. Is the game too easy? So great. Amazing turnout today. We got a lot of people that clicked from suggest. If you clicked on this from a suggestion and you hung out and you click sub, I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you so much for being here. This channel is just screaming. It's doing great. It's doing great, and we greatly appreciate it. The support has been phenomenal. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to take a brief break to stretch my legs and use the restroom, and then I'm going to hit the ad button. You might see some ads. It helps support the stream. Consider becoming a paying member for $5 a month. We're trying to hit 500 members to unlock an emote. It also supports me directly, and we've made the move over here from our bigger channel, and we've taken a bit of a hit in doing so. So the membership really makes up for it. Thank you so much, Sven, for 9 months. Streamer man, please notice me. I'm clicking buttons. Thank you, Sven. That's what a membership looks like. Your name's green. You get a little joystick. You get emotes in chat you can use, and you get increased access in our Discord. Okay? I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Distorted with 7 months. 7 months on this channel and day 1 on your other channel. Keep going, strong, brother. You make it look easy. Well, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. I really, really do. Let's do this. Let me get you guys a link. Okay. Okay. Let me do this as well. Okay. The poll tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion, a healthy balance of this game, and it's never been more fun hearing and seeing all the awesome builds. I'm just really excited that we're getting tons of support for gameplay. You know? Like, that's been really exciting for me. Is that we're getting, you know, getting support for gameplay is like really, really exciting. Why did the gaming rig disappear? Hang on a minute. Frick! Hellfire with 12 months. Oh, there's the gaming rig. I have audio sources that like I hide in OBS. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hopefully we're not blaring you guys. Hang on. We gotta do... There we go. Music is so good. Music is so good in this. Let's see. All right, I'm going to send out a tweet. Elden Ring gameplay. Lernia exploring. And then I'm going to give you guys a link as well. Great poll results today. So many people voting on those polls. It's so awesome. All right, the link is in chat. You shouldn't need it, but we definitely sometimes don't have a smooth... it's called a redirect, and it should bring you with me, but it doesn't always happen. Okay. Okay. Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Continuing our Elden Ring gameplay, brand new area, just beat Godric last video. It didn't even mean to. Sparked a great debate for our morning talk show. Is the game too easy? Because I beat him my second try. Very much so because of being able to summon an NPC. We're now in a new area, Lernia of the Lakes, and we are going to be doing a lot of exploration today. I did that with Limgrave. I really like to wander around and find everything. I'm going to bring everybody over from the